Good day, my name is Blue Suit and today we'll be going over my review of the early access first-person medieval strategy conquest RPG known as Mount & Blade II Bannerlord. Bannerlord takes place in the fictional land of Calradia as the empire crumbles and new kingdoms have begun to gain a foothold in the region. The game starts with a solid character creator involving not only your looks but your childhood and family history. It was far more immersive than just putting points into what you want to be good at. Here there are instead backstories explaining why you have certain aptitudes. For example, my parents were merchants, therefore I have a penchant for trade. Plus, since your parents are automatically generated based on how you look, it was always funny to see what Bannerlord decided that my family looked like. From there, you set out to claim your fortune and destiny in whatever manner you seek. Most players will travel from town to town doing good deeds and settling disputes until they get noticed by a lord who allows them into their service. There are 8 different factions in the game to join, with all different units, weapons, armors, and cultures. Regardless of which you decide to join, you're embarking down a long path of infighting and political backstabbing that ends with you climbing ever more prominent in your king's eyes. But this certainly isn't the only way to play in Mount & Blade II Bannerlord. Instead of becoming a vassal to a lord, you can carve out your own kingdom. It's a lot of work and makes the early game pretty grindy, but once your party has a couple hundred people in it, you can look to start sieging some castles. Then once you're king, you begin the long process of growing and attacking to expand and eventually have all of Calradia under your rule. The actual kingdom management is also far from simple, and succeeding as the leader of your clan will require you to build up your settlements and keep your vassals happy enough to stay loyal. Alternatively, you could become a bandit warlord, ransacking towns, ambushing caravans, and terrorizing the local villagers. It's a much easier early game when you're playing as a bad guy, but your reputation is everything, and those villagers and lords will be quick to close their doors to you in your inevitable hour of need. But if killing isn't your modus operandi, you can just become a merchant, buying up businesses, sending out caravans, and playing the game's well-formulated economy to get rich. As you increase your trade skill, you start to hear rumors of cheap items and seller's market that can help you get a leg up on the competition. You can even just ignore all the endgame stuff, build your character like the Terminator, and just dominate arenas for money all day. This is what has always made the series so attractive. It's that the scope of Bannerlord is yours for the choosing, so much so that playing as a king versus playing as a merchant doesn't even feel like you're playing the same game, and it's great. There is an intentional lack of a main story because after the intro, you're meant to just find your own path. Bannerlord really has something to offer everyone, and several playthroughs for the individual who finds its gameplay as addicting as I do. I usually end up utilizing 2 or 3 of these playstyles in a campaign, but there aren't any rules on how you're supposed to go about it, and no 2 playthroughs will ever be identical. The combat in Bannerlord is a directional-based physics system that takes into account not only the damage of the weapon, but what body part and armor was hit by the attack and how fast the combatants were moving towards each other. It has always been a staple of the series, and in Bannerlord we see the most consistent version of it. On top of everything that you can do in Bannerlord, there's also a near infinite number of ways to actually build your character. There are 18 different skills in the game, ranging from 1- and 2-handed weapons to leadership and roguery. Each one has a dozen or so skills, and since you won't be able to max everything out in a single campaign, choosing which skills suit you best makes your character feel completely unique and adds a ton of replayability to the game as you test out other builds. Most players either need to deep dive on the wiki to learn about them, or play for a few hours before starting over with a more well thought out character. Over halfway through the year, and Bannerlord is still my favorite game so far of 2020. That being said, it is early access, and with that come the usual downsides. For one, there are still some parts of the game that are imbalanced. Pole arms with 2-handed swing damage like the fine steel Manavlian are still very overpowered, and you should totally use them. And some parts of the game still don't work, namely a handful of skills that don't do anything. The one main reason why I wanted to wait to do this review was to see if the major issues of stability and optimization were fixed, and I'm happy to say that they mostly have been. It's still not perfect, but on release I had to play at 30 FPS, I couldn't have more than a couple hundred combatants on the field at the same time, so it's definitely a huge improvement, as now I can play on high settings, even while streaming. Right now, you can pick up Mount & Blade II Bannerlord on Steam for $50. I would highly recommend this game to anyone who enjoyed, first of all, the previous Mount & Blade games, as this is the best in the series, or to anyone who enjoys open world, storyless RPGs where you start off as nothing and make your own future. This is an early access game, and even though I personally have 150 hours in it, I don't think it's quite worth the price yet. But it's close. There's a lot of good content and replayability here, but eventually becomes a grind of the same battles over and over again. That being said, I'm valuing Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord at $48, with a certainty that it will continue to improve, as it has over the past few months. I hope you enjoyed this review of Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. Come see me on Twitch where you can watch our reviews in progress 5 nights a week. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Until next time, peace!